In this video, I'm going to show you the absolute easiest way to make money sports betting. If you're watching this video, you are probably a losing sports bettor, and that's okay. You are here to make changes and become a profitable sports bettor. We're going to work together throughout this video and get you on track to being a profitable sports bettor. Let's get straight into it. It's called line comparing, and if you are not line comparing before you place a bet on your sportsbook or even prize picks, then you are probably not getting closing line value, which means you are getting bad value and you are losing money long term because you are not finding plays with a profitable edge. What is line comparing? Line comparing is simply looking at all of the different lines and odds across all of these major sports books and finding where you can get the best value on whatever sports book that might be. And it's very easy to do. In fact, you don't need to know anything about the players or sports you are betting on when you are line comparing to find the best value. And with that being said, if you think that you know ball and you think you know everything about every team and player and this guy's gonna go over because he's the GOAT or he's never missed at home on a Tuesday, if that's what you're thinking and you're placing bets off of your thoughts and emotions, then you are betting wrong and you need to try this method. Before I show you guys how to line compare yourself, just think about the sports books, right? They have multi-million-dollar models and algorithms that are taking everything into consideration when they set their lines and odds, right? Everything that you think you know or can look up on whatever website is already baked into these sports books odds, matchups, historical data, home versus away splits, etc. Everything's baked into the odds of the sports books, and it's in these sports books' best interest to set these lines and odds as accurately as possible. That way they can make money off their customers. So if the sports book set Patrick Mahomes' passing yards line at 255.5 pass yards instead of 275.5 pass yards like it usually is, there's probably a good reason for that. These sports books are not just throwing crap at a wall and seeing what sticks. No, they are setting these lines and odds for a reason. So use them as data points and to your advantage. I actually use a website called Daily Grind Fantasy that helps me compare sportsbooks lines and odds directly back to apps like Prize Picks, Underdog, Parlay Play, Fluff, bettor to find the best possible value when comparing the sportsbook market. And what the website does is it pulls all the lines and odds from these major sportsbooks and then puts them into one place for you to be able to quickly and efficiently scan the market and find where Prize Picks or even Fluff is off from the market, knowing that you are getting good value when comparing to these other major sports books. This site even updates in real time. If sportsbooks change their odds or projections, then it's going to portray here on Daily Grind Fantasy almost instantly as well. And this is extremely clutch for instances like in the NBA. If LeBron James was ruled out randomly about 30 more minutes before tip-off, that means that Austin Reeves is now going to have a bigger offensive role, so his projections are going to change. So you might be able to catch a book slipping with either Austin Reeves' projections or odds, and you could play it over there and get really, really good value this way. Now, a lot of these books are really good and fast at adjusting to news like that, but having Daily Grind Fantasy allows you to have this information instantly as the books adjust it, and then find where there is a book that is slow to adjust. Oftentimes, Prize Picks or Fluff are lagging behind the market when news like that is announced, and you're able to take advantage of them. Here's a really good example of this. Last year, typical starter Grayson Allen was ruled not starting in that he was coming off the bench randomly 30 minutes before tip-off. You can see the rest of the sportsbook market had adjusted his lines on all of these different player props down to now him coming off the bench instead of starting. So they took his points and rebounds line from 17.5, which is what the rest of the market was, or the entire market was, down to 13.5 with some juice on the under. Prize Picks was lagging behind the rest of the market at adjusting to this news and still had his props up at 17.5, 19.5 PRA, and we were able to take advantage of all of these. And of course, every single Grayson Allen line cashed. Without having a tool like Daily Grind Fantasy, you would have never knew this play existed and been able to get it in time. If you were even trying to manually line compare across the rest of the sports books, by the time you go check a couple different sports books to see where their lines are, and then go back to Prize Picks, this would have been bumped. But because this does it instantly, we were able to get these in before the bumps or before they remove it. If you guys do want to check out Daily Grind Fantasy, I will leave a link down in the description below. And if you use code DustinDGF1, you will get 25% off your very first month. And while we're still on this Grayson Allen example, let's talk about the one of two different ways you can kind of go about line comparing. And this very first one is going to be simply the projections across sportsbooks, right? We can see that this is clear value because we are getting a 4-point rebound discount by taking Grayson Allen under 17.5 on PrizePicks when comparing to the rest of the market that has this established at 13.5. So simply looking at the projections, not even really looking at the odds, although you can take that into consideration as well. This is just simply comparing what the projections are across the market. And also, to back up my point from earlier when I said you don't need to know anything about the sports or players you're betting on because it's all baked into the odds, that's exactly this, right? I could have no clue that Grayson Allen went from starting role to off the bench, but I could see that this is clear value just based on the market. And think about this. Some casual sports bettor was scrolling PrizePicks and came across Grayson Allen at 17.5 points in rebounds, and he had gone over in 4 out of the last 5 games, let's say, right? They are probably going to hit the over on this 17.5, and they have no clue that he was now ruled not starting, he was coming off the bench, and that his projection should actually be 13.5. They would have gotten terrible value taking the over of 17.5 because they were just betting off of what's happened recently, right? The sportsbooks take everything into consideration. Remember that. And for instance, an example, if you can find a QB's passing yards prop 20 yards higher on PrizePicks when comparing to the rest of the sportsbook market, it's probably a really good play to play the under on PrizePicks, and that's exactly what we have here with this Dak Prescott line from last year. It's just using it as an example. Dak Prescott was posted on PrizePicks at 269.5 yards, but the entire sportsbook market, 7 other data points going against PrizePicks, all say this should be about 251.5 pass yards. So it was 18 yards higher on PrizePicks. And then Daily Grind Fantasy is going to make it very easy for you to find out what is good value. With this odds percent to hit column, you can see that it's given a 57.87% chance to hit based on where the sportsbooks have this at and what it's at on PrizePicks. We are getting a green odds percent to hit here, which means it is good value and you should play it on PrizePicks. And this is exactly what I'm saying when you should be using these as data points and to your advantage. You are not going to trust that PrizePicks has this line correct at 269.5 when you have 7 other data points telling you and agreeing that this should be much lower. Take advantage of the book that is way off. Trust the data. And the second thing you should be comparing across these sports books is the odds. Where can you get the best possible price or odds on whatever sports book when comparing to the rest of the market? Who's the most off, and take advantage of them. And now let's look at this straight bet example on Fliff, and we'll talk about how we're going to compare these odds and why this is good value playing it on Fliff as opposed to these other sports books, right? We see this is for the first half team total for Oklahoma to go over 9.5, right? We see that Fliff has this priced at minus 115 odds for the over. And then we look across at 3 other data points, 3 other sports books. They all have this average odds of about minus 137, ranging from minus 133 to minus 144. So we can see that clearly Fliff is out on an island. They are off from the rest of the market. This is already a clear good bet because of the price you are getting on Fliff when you have 3 other data points, right, all agreeing this has a better chance to hit than how Fliff is pricing it, right? They all agree that this has about a 54.6% chance to hit. Fliff, pricing at minus 115, truly believes this has about a 52.6% chance to hit, which is where you are getting a 2% edge. So yes, placing a bet on the over of 9.5 first half team total for Oklahoma on Fliff at minus 115 odds, you are getting the best bang for your buck. But not only that, the confidence that 3 other sportsbooks are telling you that Fliff is way off, and so you should take advantage of them. But now let's look at why this is actually a big deal, getting it at minus 115 instead of playing it at minus 137 odds, let's say. If we were to place a $100 straight bet at minus 115 odds, we would profit $86.96, right? If we placed a $100 wager at minus 137 odds, we would only profit $72.99, a difference of almost $14. If you continually get extra profit on your bets as they win, and you are also getting that confidence, as I mentioned, that this should hit more often than what Fluff is pricing it as, right? You are going to then create profit time after time. $14 every single bet, let's say, right? If you can get $14 in extra value every single bet, that is going to add up a bunch. Think about it like if you were shopping for a car, right? If you had 5 different dealerships in mind and they all had a Honda Civic that you were looking for priced from $25,000 to $33,000, right? You wouldn't go for the one that has it at $33,000. You would go to the dealership that has it priced at $25,000, right? And by doing that, by price shopping, right, you are then creating profit for yourself, or AKA savings. You just saved $6,000 by going to this dealership rather than those other dealerships. Same thing with these sports books. Go to where you can get the best possible bang for your buck. It's literally just like everyday life, whether it's grocery shopping, gas, etc. How can we save money and build a savings account? That's exactly what we're doing sports betting. We are building profit based on finding profitable bets where we are consistently getting the best price available, right? That will create profit as we do this at volume over the long term. So a huge takeaway from this is really trust the sports books. I know that sounds crazy. We're trying to beat them, but we can use them to our advantage at the same exact time and then take advantage and hammer the book that's being dumb and off, right? We won't take that one into consideration, but we'll use those other data points and find a really, really good bet that has an edge and continually get them in. I mean, guys, Daily Grind Fantasy even has AI line comparing and finding good value and then building out full slips for you to tail. It's really became that easy where AI is taking over and doing this for us. So just like I showed you guys using the optimizers to line compare, right? AI has line comparing technology built in where it's going to do that for us in seconds and then spit out slips. We don't have to do any thinking. We don't have to do nothing. Just simply enter in the slips when it hits the AI slip generator, and then know that you are getting long-term profitable value by placing these on whatever app it tells you to play it on. In PrizePicks, with one click of a button, it will load up on PrizePicks, and all you do is enter in the amount you want to play. It's became that easy on PrizePicks. They're the only app that will allow Daily Grind Fantasy to actually incorporate that one-click betting feature. But it takes 10 seconds on PrizePicks and maybe 30 seconds to enter this slip in on Underdog, and then know you are getting long-term profitable value. I mean, this tool is up since 8/18 of last year, 2,085 units using this AI line comparing technology. So if you're somebody that doesn't have a whole lot of time to sports bet throughout the day where you can manually line compare using the optimizers at Daily Grind Fantasy, the AI slip generator might be the best option for you, where you can just take a few minutes out of your day and just tail these plays as they hit the AI slip generator. And last thing, how can you confirm that you are getting good value on your plays? You will start to see your plays get bumped. If you played something over 9.5 points, right? And then 10 minutes later, it is now sitting at 10.5 points. It's bumped in the direction towards matching the market that you were just comparing to, right? So you locked it in at the best value, at the best number. So if he lands at 10, you will now win your bet as opposed to lose it because you got it locked in before PrizePicks bumped it. Same thing with Fluff, right? If you got that play in at minus 115 odds, right? And now 30 minutes later, it's sitting at minus 130. You got really, really good value. You got the best possible price in the market, and before they bumped it to match the rest of the market at those odds. And that right there proves this strategy. If you continue to get good closing line value where you are getting the best number, the best odds before it moves, you are going to be a long-term profitable sports bet. Hopefully you guys learned something and enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. We post sports betting content like this every single week.